Well, politicians are descending on Canberra for the next term of Parliament, which officially begins tomorrow. Joining us live from Canberra is the Liberal Senator Jane Hume. Jane, it's good to see you this morning. So, given it's how we started every single chat last term, it feels only natural that that's where we pick up today with the first polls of this term published today. You must hate seeing these.
Do you know, Pete, every time we started these discussions in the last term, I said, well, you know, polls come and go. The most important thing is X, Y and Z. This is a poll that I think that, you know, it starts every parliamentary term. It's actually not that unusual for an opposition, a new opposition, to be well behind in the polls. And let's face it, Australians really haven't switched on to their politics again while Canberra has been, hibernating up here. Despite the fact that Susan Lee did a terrific press club address and has been working really hard over the break, we're going to wait until Australians switch their concentration on to Canberra. And that will start, of course, this week. And there is so much to talk about up here. Once we get through the ceremonial stuff of the next couple of days, well, then the government will be under scrutiny. We know that that unemployment now has gone up. That's despite the fact that at the beginning of the last parliament we had a Jobs and Skills Summit, which seems to be being repeated in this parliament with a productivity summit. It's the same group of people getting together again. Now, the Jobs and Skills Summit was a farce. You'll recall that. Do you remember? All of those businesses got together and essentially signed up to a blank cheque for Labor to do whatever it was already going to do. And yet unemployment's gone up, the skills crisis remains. So what will this productivity summit deliver? That's the real question. It's the same group of people coming together. Will they be fooled all over again simply to signing up to whatever it is that Labor want to do?
Just one more note, though, on the polls before we go. And I do want to ask you about that summit, but those polls pretty dire, 40-year lows. I mean, based on those numbers, the coalition is a nothing burger. So how do you start to pick that up?
It's extraordinary that, not only have the coalition hit a low point in their primary vote, but, so have the government, and yet they're filling those benches. So you can see how, fickle, I think, those polls can be. They're not necessarily reflective of what's going on inside the building. Of course, we're going to work every day to rebuild trust with the Australian people, to make sure that they know that we're listening to their concerns and responding to them, sticking with our values, of course, those important values of reward for effort, lower taxes, growing the economy, managing the budget responsibly. But at the same time, we have to make sure that for this 3 years, we are holding this very bad government to account, because the last 3 years delivered nothing other than a cost of living crisis where people saw their standard of living go backwards and economic growth stagnating. Right, so the last thing we need is another talk fest. We need an economic plan.
So is that what you think the Productivity Summit will be, just a talk fest?
Well, it's amazing that we've already seen the Prime Minister and the Treasurer disagreeing about what is and isn't on the table. Is there genuine tax reform on the table? If there is, the coalition is willing to talk, but we don't want to see ordinary Australians or retirees or small businesses unnecessarily punished and in the firing line because Labor can't manage the budget and manage the economy. We want to make sure that there's genuine reform to things like industrial relations, not just a sop to the unions in those productivity summits. And already we're seeing the unions come out saying, well, the best way to increase productivity is to cut the number of hours that Australians work. I'm not entirely sure how that is consistent. So let's see exactly what is and isn't on this productivity summit agenda. Will it be another talk fest with nothing other than a blank cheque for Labor's agenda, or will there be genuine change? Because, quite frankly, with unemployment rising, productivity going backwards, we need a change, we need a plan, and we need it now.
So before that, though, the priorities for Anthony Albanese are on three fronts, at least for this sitting fortnight: student debt, penalty rates, child safety laws. Where do you stand on those?
Well, we know that, the student debt was something that they took to the election. That will go to the party room. The child safety laws, we've said that we will step up and help in any way that we can to make sure that parents can feel confident when they send their children to childcare that they will be safe and receive the best possible care. So there's going to be a number of things on the agenda. I'd imagine it will change up over the next week, the next 2 weeks. The coalition will look at every single item individually. We will discuss it in the party room, and
penalty
we will come
rates
up
as
with
well.
a position that is consistent. Well, penalty rates. Let's see what they come up with there. But we'll make sure that we come up with a position that's consistent with what we believe in, but at the same time is actually going to increase the pie, not simply carve it up differently.
So just a final one on you, Jane. I mean, you had yourself a nice break after the election, but you're back again. I mean, how are you now with where your head's at and what's happened since and your position within the party?
I think I'm the same as all of my colleagues. We're raring to go now. It's time to get back into it. Let's get through this ceremonial stuff of the next couple of days and get on with the job. Hold this government to account. Australians have seen their living standards go backwards and the economy essentially in the doldrums. We need to do something. We need it now. We need an economic plan. It's going to be all shoulders to the wheel, and that's exactly where I intend to be.
All right. Jane Hume, good to see you this morning. Talk to you again soon.
You too, Pete.